Hello again, and welcome to another of our special creative talks. My guest this afternoon is a very special person that lots of you will probably have met when you've been to the Pump House. It's our very own Meg Andrews, and she's going to give us some of the secrets of the box office and also how she got involved in theatre. Hello, Meg. How are you doing?
Kia ora, Max. I am very good, thank you.
Good. It's lovely to see you.
You too. I miss you.
So, on to the nitty gritty. Can you tell us how you got involved in the performing arts?
I can. I like to tell the story about when I was 6 months old. I played Baby Jesus, and that was my first time on stage. So that was my introduction, but really I think it all began when I was 3 years old, which is also quite young. And my parents had the foresight to put me into dance lessons.
Right.
So I was dancing all of my childhood and most of my teenage years. Loved being on stage. I think my first dancing role was as a rabbit, which you now know I have a rabbit, so that's pretty special. And I was a diva from day one. I remember stubbing my toe as a little rabbit on stage and having quite the tantrum backstage. So it all started with dancing.
Any particular style of dance that you were?
Yeah, I did ballet for most of my childhood years, but when I think I was about 15, I saw Shakespeare on TV.
Yeah.
I remember saying to my mum, I want to dance like that. It's like, that's more me. I didn't know that was belly dancing, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. So my mum found a belly dance class for me, right. And that's what I did for my teenage years, and I'm still doing it now. But yeah, that's my introduction, was dancing. When I got into high school, I think when it became more serious for me and when I wanted to make it my profession, was when I got introduced to Shakespeare. Right. I had an incredible English teacher who, because a lot of teachers, I don't think they can teach Shakespeare properly so that young people can enjoy it. And the first play that I studied and that I read aloud was Macbeth, the Scottish play. I'm not in a theatre right now.
Okay, you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm safe. So that's when it became more of an interest for me, and there was never really any other thing I wanted to do with my life. It is now, I went to drama school, went to 2 different drama schools, and done a lot of theatre both in Palmerston North and Auckland, and actually all around the country. And I've done a few screen stints, Shorty Street. I've been doing it my whole life, pretty much, in my lounge on different stages. Yeah.
So what was the actual transition from dance to drama? What made you think, okay, I'm not going to be a professional dancer, but I quite like to be an actor?
I think it was that I always, it was a combination of things. I loved playing different characters, and you can do that in dance. I think that's a legitimate thing that you can do in dance productions, but really exploring a character and the human condition, I think that really comes out in acting. And I always had a fascination with people. Right. My parents will tell you that as a kid, I used to just sit and stare at any visitors that would come around because I was studying them for future characters, you know.
Yeah.
So I've always been fascinated by people. I think they're one of my biggest interests, and I like exploring the minds of people and my own mind as well. I also wanted to do every single job when I was a child. I wanted to be a dairy owner. I wanted to be a dog walker. I wanted to be everything. And I feel like by being an actor, you have the chance and opportunity to do everything.
Cool. So can you remember what the first sort of drama performance production that you were in? So you say you grew up in Palmerston North. So was it something at high school or was it something after high school?
To be honest, the school I went to, we didn't have proper plays that we put on at the school. I remember a few musicals, but I couldn't really sing. So that, as much as I'd love musicals to be my thing, that was never my thing. So the first show I can remember doing is Othello when I think I was 15 at that point, or 16. The Fielding Little Theatre was putting it on, and I was the youngest in the cast. I think I played a serving wench, and it was brilliant. I was surrounded by these people who, like, people that I knew were my people straight away, and that's how I got introduced to the wacky world of community theatre, which I love. And that's the first role, and then it was a very small part. But straight after that, I did a show called Joyful and Triumphant,
right?
Which I know you know that play.
Yes.
And that was, for a young person, that was something very big to sink my teeth into. And I think I had many mentors around me and people who'd been doing it for years who really nurtured me. And then I was doing 3, 4, 5 shows a year after that.
So have you always been interested in the acting side of it as a performer? Was that what you did? Because I know since I've known you, you've actually done some directing as well. Some very successful directing.
Directing is something I never knew that I would do. I guess it came from a thing of, once I'd done a lot of shows and I'd experienced brilliant directors and some not so brilliant directors, I felt like I'd reached a point where I was doing shows and I could see how I would make it better. And I could see when a show was lacking vision, and I thought, well, why don't I try it out? I've got all these ideas for the shows that I'm in, but I don't have the power or control to do a lot of them. And so I remember having discussions with a good friend of mine, Claire Ahuriri, about a play that I love called Love Puke, which I was in when I was younger as well. And she's a brilliant producer, Claire, among other things. But she made that happen. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have actually started directing, because I thought it was quite daunting. But she made that happen, and Love Puke was a really incredible experience, and I really threw myself in the deep end with 8 professional actors. And I've directed a few other things since then.
So you talked about going nationwide. I do know that you were part of taking Shakespeare nationwide. You'd like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a few years ago now, I was in the Ugly Shakespeare Company, and I was actually the first female in about 11 years to be part of that group. Usually 3 actors who travel the country performing to high school students. So they perform Shakespeare, and it's made ugly, and it's made really funny and relevant and relatable, so that they're able to learn about Shakespeare and the text and the characters, but also the really great meanings that Shakespeare put into his plays and the themes. I did that a few years ago with 2 guys. We travelled the country for just under 6 months and performed to gosh, I think it was roughly 80 high schools.
Wow.
And it would vary from, small country schools with 50 students to major high schools with maybe 800 people in their school hall or gym watching us. So they are, teenagers are an amazing crowd. Because when you've done a bad job, when you've done a good job. We had a little kiss in there because we did Romeo and Juliet, and that always it's like teenagers had never seen anyone kiss before. So it was a really thrilling experience.
And then the latest thing that you directed was the Vagina Monologues, which was on at the PumpHouse before Christmas.
Yes, the Vagina Monologues, I would say, is my proudest directing moment. I had a few notches under my belt before doing that, so I knew how to prepare myself properly and make sure that I was fully there as much as I could be for these wonderful actors that I had. It was the biggest cast I've had, and I had a really, really strong vision for it, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
I had mood boards and things that actually came to life, but I learned also to keep that flexibility of, you don't know what these actors are going to throw at you as well. So I had to learn to not be too controlling as well. Forever learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Vagina Monologues was, I think, a big success, and I'm really proud of that.
So what's your take on directing then? Some people, when they direct, they like to say, well, you stand there and do that, and you stand there and do that. Or some people just take a real big step back and just let the actors find their way. How would you describe your directing style?
I think I'm very involved, but not to the point where I am telling people what to do. Right. I like to incorporate movement and dance and soundscapey things into my shows, which that is probably the only thing that I would take a structured approach to. But I believe, because I've acted myself, I know how I like to be directed. Right. And I think having conversations about the character and the relationships and the story is so beneficial, and having a director who really is there with you, watching you, and is that temporary audience member before you have an audience. I think I could probably, I am very involved. I think that's the best way to describe me. I am probably a bit of a perfectionist, so things I don't mind over rehearsing. I think there is benefit in that with my style of directing. I like to really work and really get in deep with actors. So I enjoy that, because that's what I enjoy as an actor.
Right. Yeah, because it's interesting for people who are watching to find out what goes on behind the scenes, because a lot of our viewers will be people who just go and see the shows and just assume that what happens is the same for every show and the actors just go on and act. But it's nice to know that directors have different styles and different approaches. And you talked about mood boards and how you had a vision, and it was the vision that carried you through. So that's it's a really interesting thing for people to learn about.
Yeah, definitely. I think every experience of every piece of theatre experience is different, and that's what makes it so much fun. Because you're supported in different ways by directors, and I know actors who love directors who won't give them anything, but I believe a performance can always be amplified by a director who can give you more.
Yeah. Cool. So the $65 million question, what do you prefer, directing or acting?
Acting. Acting. Yeah. I it's funny, since I've started directing, I seem to get more opportunities to direct. I get people coming to me asking me to direct more than to act, which is really lovely, but I'm more picky with the things I direct. It has to be something I really want to do, whereas acting, I guess there's a lot more roles and stories that I want to tell as a performer than as a director.
So what's been your favourite performance up to now? What's been your favourite character that you've taken on board?
Oh, there are so many. And I feel like I carry a lot of them with me. They never leave. But I would say, it's going to be really typical to say this, but Lady Macbeth, I think any actor who has played her probably would feel the same. There's something about those words that she speaks that take hold of you as an actor. And I think she was the most enjoyable and exhausting role that I've played.
You've played her a couple of times, haven't you? That I know of.
Yeah, I played her. Well, she was the first lines that I ever read aloud of Shakespeare was Lady Macbeth,
right?
Because at high school I did the scene where they just killed Duncan.
Right.
I did that scene at school, and it was then that I was like, man, she's doing some awful things and saying some awful things, but man, like there's so much more to this woman. She's powerful and intelligent and has so many layers, and she loves her husband. And for me, when I played it in the summer Shakespeare with Shoreside, the thing that I focused on was that it was this love that was guiding me. And because I've seen it played many times, that it's quite a selfish, power hungry, greedy thing, but I wanted to make her more human. And so did the director Kath, who'd also played her. She wanted to take a real human approach, so that by the time the sleepwalk scene came, hopefully people would feel sorry for her. So
Lady Macbeth, top of the pops. Is there any contemporary roles that you think, oh yeah, I really want to play that, or you have played?
There are many. I actually forget a lot of the character names that I've played. I think, just trying to think of some of my favorite. I keep talking about the same plays, but I obviously really like them. I played Louise in Love Puke, who I loved playing her. She is a character that is really relevant right now. She's seen as a scandalous woman who just wants to sleep with a lot of men, and I think there's such a stigma around that, I think she's someone that I really liked playing. In terms of roles that I want to play, it's funny because a lot of the roles I'd love to play, I know I will never play, like King George in Hamilton. Right. I'd love to play him. Can't sing. I'm not really a guy. So I would love to play him.
Well, I've got a penciled in spot at the PumpHouse to do Hamilton once they put the revolve in. So
I'll be there. And
We can talk.
oh yeah, I can lip sync. I'm a really good lip syncer. So
just have to wait for the revolve to get put in on the stage, and then we're away.
We better get on to that ASAP.
We better. Yeah. So talking of the Pump House, tell us a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis there.
Yeah. Well, I am the box office and marketing coordinator. So I'm responsible for getting all our shows and events live so that people can buy tickets. I'm responsible for selling tickets and making sure the box office runs smoothly, and that our team of casual staff know what they're doing, and that we create a really cool front of house environment for people who come to watch our shows. So that's basically what I do. And I promote the shows and events so that people know that they're happening. And if you get our twice monthly, fortnightly emails, then you'll know that I'm the one who writes them, because I say "love from Meg" at the end. So it's quite a busy job. At the moment, it's very different. My day consists of a lot of refunds, or transfers, or cancelling of shows, or postponing of shows. So it's quite a different job during lockdown.
Yeah, and you've had to cope with that quite a few times in the last 18 months. So.
Yeah. The first lockdown was a huge eye opener. The refunds, learning to do them. I think usually we'd only need to do a refund once every few months.
Yeah.
But I was like, I would say thousands. I could be wrong, but I think it's thousands.
I think you think you're right. I think there'd be.
Yeah, so that was hard work. But now I'm a pro and so speedy. So bring on more lockdowns?
No, we don't want any more lockdowns. Oh, that's cool. So you've done performances at the Pump House. You mentioned that you were in Shakespeare in the Park. Is there any particular Pump House performance that you've enjoyed, whether you've been in it or you've been in the audience?
Yeah, there's been plenty, to be honest. The most recent, I loved the Mousetrap that Shoreside recently did. I thought I didn't like Agatha Christie plays that much, but I really, really enjoyed that. I saw one that really stands out as Soul Othello, which Regan one-man show. I think that's one that will always stick in my mind as being an outstanding performance at the Pump House. For me, probably one of the most special moments was playing Titania, Sleeping Under That Tree.
In the amphitheatre.
In the amphitheatre, yeah. A lot of the Shakespeares I've really enjoyed because the atmosphere is so cool. But yeah, there are so many. I've seen a lot at the Pump House now. The 40th anniversary, this is before I worked there, with all the different cultural things and dancing and singing. I really enjoyed that, and that's a day that stands out for me too.
Cool. So if we put Lady Macbeth to one side, is there any particular role that you would love to have, and King George, because he's on the back, is there any particular role you think one day I'm going to play that?
Marilyn Monroe. Yeah. I've impersonated her in my life, but she is a role, whether it's on stage or on screen, she is a role that if I play her, that's a massive tick. If I play her for an audience in a story about her life, that would be a huge tick for me, because I am obsessed with her. and I've been playing her most of my life.
Right.
So that would be a role that I'd like. I'd also love to play more. I tend to get a bit typecast, I think, in either quite feminine roles. Used to get a lot of really like dumb blonde roles.
Right.
I would like to start playing like more powerful characters like Lady Macbeth, because that's what I get more out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives you something to chew on.
Yeah. And I think I live my everyday life as quite a feminine, bubbly. I don't want to say I'm a dumb blonde because I'm not. Yeah. I think I live every day as Meg, so playing a Meg on stage, as much as that would be cool, I want to play things that are more challenging for me.
Get your acting chops around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that people might not be aware of is that you're actually responsible for some of the monologue collaborations that we've had over the last few lockdowns. So how have you gone about doing that? How have you persuaded people to be part of that?
It's actually really easy, because people, actors especially, when they've been in lockdown for a few days, they are missing being able to entertain people and having a bit of attention. So I think it was really easy. We've had heaps of people involved in them now, and all it takes is putting a message up on our Facebook page, and we get a lot of people interested in their little 5 minutes of fame. So yeah, basically I'd put the word out there, and I would select, or James, or I think even you've helped with some, to select a monologue. And then most of the time I know a lot of the actors, so I know what lines to give them, because I know that they can nail certain things. So I chop up the script into bits, and then I email out the script and say, here's your assigned lines, film this however you want. You've got complete liberty over how you film it, except just film it in landscape is my only thing. And then people send it back and I edit it together. I'm a bit tech challenged, but I know how to do it now. Edit it together. Sometimes I've put subtitles on, but that's a bit of work. And then find some music to go with it, and then release it to the world. And most of them have been really well received.
I think they've all been really well received. They've all been good fun.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the yoga fart yet, you've got to go and have a look at that. That's really good comedy writing.
It is
well
hilarious.
performed and really well edited together. So you might say you're tech challenged, but I think you've got yourself a whole new skill set there, girl.
Yeah. Hit me up for editing your movies and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, you've done a lot of the videos that we do have on the Facebook page and the website of the PumpHouse.
It's something I quite enjoy, especially like I have no worries about putting myself on screen. I get a big kick out of that kind of thing. So the videos are a lot of fun. Some of them are a lot of work. If I put myself in the monologue, then it takes a lot longer because I'm watching my own face over and over, and I think, I should refilm that. Yeah.
But it's been a great way to keep connected with people out in during lockdown.
And people want to feel part of something. Actors love feeling like they're part of a community, and feeling like they're doing something creative. So I think it's been really, I've got amazing feedback from a lot of the actors who this is, one of the things that's kept them going through the numerous lockdowns.
Yeah. So you yourself as a creative, what have you spent your time doing, keeping you focused during lockdown? And do you have any advice for any of the creatives who might be watching?
Yeah. I yeah, to keep myself, you know, every day is different. I am not going to lie, like there's days when I really, really struggle. Um, and I know in my mind the things that will make me feel better, like moving my body is a big one, and drawing. I've discovered that I enjoy drawing. But you know, some days even the thought of doing stuff that I love is really hard.
Yeah.
But I think not putting pressure on yourself to even do the things you love. Sometimes you just need to lie there and look at the ceiling. But I also, to give any advice to people, I think everyone's so different.
Yeah.
I need to move my body to make myself feel good. So whether that's dancing, going for a walk, yoga, whereas my partner, he needs to work his mind to feel good. So he needs things that are going to help him think and, you know, occupy his mind. Otherwise he'd go crazy.
Yeah.
So I would say being really self-aware is a good start, and knowing what you personally need, and not hopping on social media and going, oh, I should be baking like all these people are.
Yeah.
I think you just, if you know what you love doing and you know what makes you feel good, do that. Yeah, it's hard, and I think we need to allow ourselves to feel all the different emotions. If we are feeling really guilty or sad, just sit in that for a moment and then try and move out of it. Yeah, my rabbit has also really helped me. I can't go through this.
We can't not mention
Couscous, my bunny. That would be my suggestion. Get yourself an Angora rabbit, and she will help you through, or he or she will help you through. Yeah. My rabbit has actually been very therapeutic for me.
And if you don't happen to have your own Angora rabbit, or you can't have one, Couscous does have her own Instagram account, so you can find her on Instagram.
Yeah, Couscous the bunny.
Couscous
That's
the bunny.
her handle.
So what's your next what's your next production that you're going to be involved in? What's the next thing you're going to do?
Well, fingers crossed, educating Rita.
Wow.
We are scheduled to do that at the PumpHouse at the start of November, which is actually very soon. And I'm playing Rita. There's two characters in it, Frank and Rita. It's a classic story. If you don't know it, look it up. It's written by Willie Russell. Yep. There's a film that it got made into a film as well. So we started rehearsing over Zoom. So at the moment, that's what we're doing, and I'm trying to teach myself a Scouse accent at home and learn lines. But yeah, as soon as we get into level 2, we'll be able to rehearse and hopefully put this on. So everyone, stay in your bubbles and do the right thing so that I can get back on stage and everyone can get back to doing what they love.
Yes, please.
Yes.
And I second that. I second that. Yeah. Great. Well, it's been lovely to talk to you, Meg. And the fact that we're both on screen at the same time, we can say to people, you're Meg and I'm Mags.
Yes. They are two different names.
Yeah. No confusion whatsoever.
Yeah. Meg, Mags.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for joining us for a creative talk and giving us a glimpse into the world of Meg Andrews. And don't forget, Couscous has her own Instagram account. We shall expect lots of sign-ups after this.
Yeah. She'll be waiting for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.